Welcome to Speak English Naturally. Today's audiobook story is called The New Neighbor. This story is for A2 and B1 English learners. Listen slowly. Relax. Try to understand the story. You do not need to understand every word. Just follow the meaning. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The New Neighbor. It was a quiet Sunday morning in Green Valley. Green Valley was a small town in the United States. The streets were clean. The houses were colorful. The people were friendly. Everyone knew each other. At least, they thought they did. On Maple Street, there was a small yellow house with a white door. The house had a beautiful garden in front. There were red flowers, purple flowers, and one tall apple tree. This house belonged to Emily Carter. Emily was 28 years old. She is an English teacher at a small language school. She loved books, coffee, and quiet mornings. Every Sunday, Emily woke up early. She made coffee. She opened the window. Then she sat at her kitchen table and read a book. But this Sunday was different. Emily heard a loud noise outside. She looked out the window. A big moving truck was in front of the empty house next door. For 6 months, nobody had lived there. The house was old, but pretty. It had blue walls, a gray roof, and a wooden fence. Emily watched carefully. 2 men were carrying boxes from the truck into the house. Then she saw a man standing near the front door. He looked around the street. He was tall. He had dark hair. He wore jeans, a white t-shirt, and brown shoes. He looked tired, but kind. Emily took a sip of coffee. "So, I have a new neighbor," she said quietly. She wanted to go outside and say hello, but she was shy with new people. She waited for a few minutes. Then she saw something strange. The man dropped a small box. The box opened. Papers fell all over the ground. The wind was strong. Some papers flew across the street. "Oh no," Emily said. She quickly put on her shoes and went outside. She ran across her garden and picked up some papers. The man looked surprised. "Thank you," he said. "No problem," Emily said. "The wind is not helping you today." The man laughed. "No, it is not. I chose the wrong day to move." Emily gave him the papers. "I am Emily," she said. "I live next door." "Nice to meet you, Emily." "I am Daniel. Welcome to Maple Street," Emily said. "Thank you. It seems like a nice place." "It is," Emily said. Quiet most of the time, Daniel looked at the moving truck. "I hope I do not make too much noise today." Emily smiled. "Moving day is always noisy. Do not worry." For a moment, they stood in silence. Then Daniel looked at the papers in his hands. "These are important," he said. "I am glad you helped. Work papers?" Emily asked. "Sort of," Daniel said. "They are notes for a book." Emily's eyes became bright. "A book? Are you a writer?" Daniel smiled a little. "I am trying to be." "That sounds interesting," Emily said. "It is interesting. And difficult." Emily understood that feeling. She wanted to ask more questions, but she did not want to be too curious. "Well," she said, "if you need anything, I am next door." "Thank you, Emily. That is very kind." Emily walked back to her house. But before she closed the door, she looked back. Daniel was standing in front of his new home. He was holding the papers carefully, and he looked at the house like he was starting a new life. Vocabulary break. Let us learn some useful words and phrases from the story. Neighbor means a person who lives near you. For example, my neighbor lives next door. Moving truck means a big truck people use when they move to a new home. For example, the moving truck arrived at 9 in the morning. Next door means the house or apartment beside yours. For example, Emily lives next door to Daniel. Quiet means not noisy. For example, Green Valley is a quiet town. Shy means nervous or uncomfortable with new people. For example, Emily is friendly, but she is a little shy. No problem means it is okay, or you are welcome. For example, thank you for your help. No problem. I am trying to be means you are working toward something. For example, I am trying to be a better English speaker. Chapter 2, A Strange Sound. The next morning, Emily woke up at 6:30. She made breakfast and prepared for work. She worked at Green Valley Language Center. Most of her students were adults. Some students were from Mexico. Some were from Brazil. Some were from Korea, Japan, Turkey, and Spain. Emily loved teaching them. She liked helping people speak with more confidence. At 7:30, Emily left her house. She saw Daniel outside. He was standing near his car with a cup of coffee. "Morning," Emily said. "Good morning," Daniel replied. "How was your first night in the new house?" Daniel looked at the house and smiled. "Good, mostly." "Mostly?" Emily asked. Daniel laughed. "Well, I heard a strange sound around midnight." "A strange sound?" "Yes, like something moving in the wall." Emily smiled. "Oh, that old house has many sounds." "Maybe it was the pipes." "The pipes?" "Yes, old houses make strange noises. Pipes, wood, wind, everything talks at night." Daniel laughed. "It makes me feel better." Emily looked at her watch. "I have to go to work, but good luck with the house." "Thanks. Have a good day." "You too." Emily drove to work. But during the day, she thought about Daniel. He wondered why he moved to Green Valley. Most people did not move to Green Valley unless they had family there. It was a small town. There were no big companies, no universities, no exciting nightlife, just quiet streets, small shops, and friendly people. At lunch, Emily sat with her coworker, Maria. Maria was also an English teacher. She was funny, warm, and always curious. "So," Maria said, "you look thoughtful today." "I met my new neighbor," Emily said. "Oh, interesting. He seems nice." "His name is Daniel. He is a writer." Maria smiled. "A writer? That sounds romantic." Emily laughed. "No, Maria. He just moved next door. Sometimes stories start next door," Maria said. Emily shook her head. "You watch too many movies." "Maybe," Maria said. "But life can be a movie too." After work, Emily stopped at the grocery store. She bought milk, bread, eggs, apples, and a small chocolate cake. She did not know why she bought the cake. Maybe because Daniel was new. Maybe because moving was hard. Maybe because she wanted to be friendly. When she arrived home, the sun was going down. The sky was orange and pink. Daniel was sitting on his front steps. He had a notebook in his hands. Emily walked toward him with the cake. "Hi," she said. Daniel looked up. "Hi, Emily. Brought you something." She gave him the cake. Daniel looked surprised. "Wow, thank you. You did not have to do that." "I know, but moving is tiring. Cake helps." Daniel smiled. "I agree. Cake helps with many problems." Emily laughed. He invited her to sit on the front steps. For a few minutes, they talked about simple things. The weather, the town, the grocery store, the best coffee shop. Then Emily asked, "So, why did you move to Green Valley?" Daniel looked at the street. He was quiet for a moment. "I needed a change," he said. Emily waited. Daniel continued, "I lived in Chicago for 10 years. It was busy, too busy. I worked all the time. I wrote at night. I never rested." "That sounds exhausting," Emily said. It was. "Then my grandmother passed away last year." "I am sorry," Emily said softly. "Thank you." This was her house. Emily looked at the blue house. "Oh, I did not know. She left it to me," Daniel said. "At first, I wanted to sell it, but then I came here. I saw the house. I saw the town. And I thought, maybe this is what I need." "Quiet place to write?" Emily asked. "Yes, a quiet place to write." And maybe a quiet place to breathe. Emily understood. Sometimes people did not need a new job, or a new car, or a new plan. Sometimes they just needed space. As they talked, Emily heard a sound from inside Daniel's house. It was soft. Then it came again. Tap, tap, tap. Emily looked at Daniel. Daniel looked at the house. That is the sound, he said. Vocabulary break. Let us learn more useful words and phrases. Mostly means usually, but not completely. For example, my first day was mostly good. Strange means unusual or not normal. For example, I heard a strange sound. Pipes are tubes that carry water in a house. For example, the pipes make noise at night. Thoughtful means thinking deeply. For example, Emily looked thoughtful at lunch. Coworker means a person you work with. For example, Maria is Emily's coworker. You did not have to do that means it was not necessary. But thank you. For example, you brought me coffee? You did not have to do that. I needed a change means I wanted my life to be different. For example, I moved to a new city because I needed a change. Exhausting means very tiring. For example, working all day and studying at night is exhausting. Passed away means died. It is a softer and more polite phrase. For example, his grandmother passed away last year. A quiet place to breathe means a calm place to relax and feel peaceful. Chapter 3. The Hidden Room. Daniel stood up slowly. There it is again, he said. Tap, tap, tap. Emily felt a little nervous. Maybe it really is the pipes, she said. Maybe, Daniel replied. But the sound comes from the living room wall. They went inside. Daniel's house was full of boxes. Some boxes were open. Some were closed. There were books everywhere, on the floor, on the table, near the window. Emily smiled. You really are a writer. Daniel laughed. Yes, writers have too many books and not enough shelves. They walked into the living room. It was a warm room with wooden floors and large windows. The walls were light blue. An old fireplace stood in the center of the room. Above the fireplace, there was a large painting of a forest. Tap, tap, tap. The sound came again. Emily pointed to the wall near the fireplace. It sounds like it is coming from there. And Daniel walked closer. He put his ear near the wall. Then he knocked gently. Knock, knock, knock. The sound changed. Tap, tap, tap. Daniel stepped back. That is strange. Emily looked at the wall carefully. There was a thin line in the wood. It was almost invisible. Daniel, she said, look at this. He moved closer. What is it? I am not sure. It looks like a small door. A door? In the wall? Maybe. Daniel touched the line with his fingers. The wood moved a little. Emily held her breath. Daniel pushed softly. Nothing happened. And he pushed again. Harder. Suddenly, part of the wall opened. A small hidden door appeared. Behind the door was a dark space. Emily and Daniel looked at each other. You have a secret room, Emily whispered. Daniel looked shocked. I lived here during summers when I was a kid. I never knew this was here. You have a flashlight? Emily asked. Yes. Wait here. Daniel went to the kitchen and came back with a flashlight. He turned it on. Inside the hidden space, there was dust, old boxes, and a wooden chair. It was not really a room. It was more like a small storage space. Daniel stepped inside carefully. Emily followed him. The air smelled old, like paper, wood, and time. On the floor, there was a small metal box. Daniel picked it up. It was covered in dust. There was a lock, but the lock was broken. He opened the box. Inside, there were letters, many letters. They were tied together with a blue ribbon. Emily looked at Daniel. Do you know who wrote them? Daniel took the first letter and opened it carefully. The paper was yellow and old. He read the name at the bottom. Clara. Who was Clara? Emily asked. Daniel was quiet. My grandmother's name was Clara. Emily looked at the letters again. Maybe these were her letters. Daniel sat on the floor. His face changed. He looked surprised, sad, and happy at the same time. I never knew about this, he said. Emily sat beside him. Do you want to read one? Daniel nodded. He opened the first letter. The handwriting was beautiful but difficult to read. He read slowly. Dear Thomas, I do not know if you will ever read this letter. I do not know if I will ever be brave enough to send it. But today, I must write the truth. Daniel stopped reading. Thomas? Emily asked. Daniel looked confused. I do not know any Thomas in my family. He continued reading. I wanted to leave Green Valley. I wanted to see the world. But life is not always what we plan. Sometimes, love keeps us in one place. Sometimes fear keeps us in one place. And sometimes we stay because we believe it is the right thing to do. Daniel lowered the letter. This is personal, he said. You do not have to read it now, Emily said. No, Daniel replied. I want to. I need to know. Emily looked around the hidden space. Then she saw something behind the chair. A small photo frame. She picked it up and wiped away the dust. Inside the frame was an old black and white photograph. A young woman stood beside a young man. The woman was smiling. The man was holding a notebook. Emily gave the photo to Daniel. Is that your grandmother? Daniel looked at the picture. Yes, he said softly. That is Clara. And the man? Daniel shook his head. I do not know. On the back of the photo, there were 3 words. Clara and Thomas. Daniel looked at the hidden letters. Then he looked at Emily. I think my grandmother had a secret. Vocabulary break. Let us learn some useful words and phrases. Hidden means not easy to see or find. For example, they found a hidden door in the wall. Invisible means impossible or almost impossible to see. For example, the line in the wood was almost invisible. Flashlight means a small light you hold in your hand. For example, Daniel used a flashlight to see inside the dark space. Dust means dry dirt that collects on old things. For example, the box was covered in dust. Storage space means a place where people keep things. For example, the hidden room was used as storage space. Handwriting means the way a person writes with a pen or pencil. For example, her handwriting was beautiful. Personal means private or connected to someone's life. For example, the letter was very personal. Brave means not afraid to do something difficult. For example, Clara wanted to be brave enough to tell the truth. At the same time, means two things are happening together. For example, Daniel felt sad and happy at the same time. Chapter 4. Her first letter. That night, Emily could not stop thinking about the letters. She went home after Daniel found the box. She wanted to give him privacy. But her mind was full of questions. Who was Thomas? Why were the letters hidden? Why did Clara never talk about him? And why did Daniel's grandmother keep those letters for so many years? Emily made tea and sat by the window. She could see Daniel's house from her kitchen. The lights were on. Daniel was probably reading. Emily wondered if he was okay. Finding a secret from the past could feel exciting, but it could also feel painful. The next morning, Emily found an envelope on her front step. Her name was written on it, Emily. Inside was a short note from Daniel. Good morning, Emily. Thank you for helping me yesterday. I read 3 letters last night. I think there is a story here, a big one. Would you like to help me understand it? Coffee at 5? Daniel. Emily smiled. At 5 o'clock, she walked next door. Daniel had cleaned the living room. Most of the boxes were gone. There were 2 cups of coffee on the table. The metal box sat between them. "Thank you for coming," Daniel said. "Of course," Emily replied. "How are you feeling?" Daniel thought for a moment. Curious, confused, a little sad. That makes sense. Daniel took out one letter. This is the first letter. I think Clara wrote it when she was about 20 years old. Emily listened carefully. Daniel began to read. "Dear Thomas, today I walked past the train station. Again. Every time I see the train, I imagine getting on it. I imagine sitting by the window. I imagine watching Green Valley disappear behind me. I want to go to New York. I want to study art. I want to paint streets, people, buildings, and the sky after rain. But my father says dreams are expensive. He says family comes first. Maybe he is right, but my heart feels heavy. When I am with you, I feel light. You talk about books and cities and music. You make the world feel bigger. I wish I were brave like you." Daniel stopped reading. Emily was quiet. "She wanted to be an artist," Emily said. Daniel nodded. "I did not know that. She never painted when I knew her. Maybe she stopped. Maybe." Emily looked at the letter. "She sounds trapped." "Trapped?" "Yes. Like she wanted more from life, but she felt she could not leave." Daniel looked down. "My grandmother was always kind, very calm. She cooked, gardened, helped everyone. I never imagined she had dreams like this." "Everyone has a story," Emily said. Even quiet people." Daniel smiled sadly. "That is true." He took out another letter. This one mentions the train station again. Emily leaned forward. Daniel read, "Dear Thomas, you asked me to leave with you. You said we could buy 2 tickets and start again. Part of me wanted to say yes immediately, but my mother is sick. My little brother needs help. If I leave, who will take care of them? I know you think I am choosing fear. Maybe I am. But sometimes responsibility looks like fear from the outside. I love you. That is the truth. But love is not always enough to build a life." Daniel's voice became soft. He stopped reading. Emily felt a sadness in the room. Not loud sadness, quiet sadness. The kind that sits beside you and says nothing. "She loved him," Emily said. "Yes," Daniel replied, "but she did not leave." "No." Daniel picked up the old photo of Clara and Thomas. "She chose her family." Emily nodded. "That must have been difficult." Daniel looked at the photo. "I wonder what happened to Thomas." "Maybe the letters will tell us." Daniel put the letter back carefully. Then he looked at Emily. "I think I want to write this story. Your grandmother's story. Yes, but not as gossip. Not as a secret to expose. More like a way to understand her." Emily smiled. "That sounds beautiful. I will need help," Daniel said. "With the letters?" "With the letters, and maybe with making the language clear. You are an English teacher." Emily laughed. "So now I am part of your writing project?" Daniel smiled. "Only if you want to be." Emily looked at the metal box. She thought about Clara. A young woman with dreams. A woman who wanted to see the world. A woman who stayed. "Yes," Emily said. "I want to help." Vocabulary. Let us review useful vocabulary. Privacy means time or space alone, without other people watching or asking questions. For example, Emily gave Daniel privacy after he found the letters. Envelope means a paper cover used for a letter. For example, Daniel left an envelope on Emily's front step. Curious means wanting to know more. For example, Daniel felt curious about the letters. Confused means not understanding clearly. For example, he felt confused because he did not know Thomas. Train station means a place where trains stop and people get on and off. For example, Clara walked past the train station. Disappear means to go away from sight. For example, she imagined Green Valley disappearing behind her. Expensive means costing a lot of money. For example, dreams can feel expensive. Trapped means feeling unable to leave or change your situation. For example, Clara felt trapped in her small town. Responsibility means something you should do because others depend on you. For example, Clara stayed because of family responsibility. Expose means to show something that was hidden. For example, Daniel did not want to expose Clara's secret in a disrespectful way. Chapter 5. A Walk to the Train Station. On Saturday morning, Emily and Daniel decided to visit the old train station. It was still there, but trains no longer stopped in Green Valley. The building was small and made of red brick. The windows were dusty. The sign above the door said Green Valley Station. Some letters were missing. Grass grew between the stones outside. Daniel carried Claret's letters in a brown folder. Emily carried coffee for both of them. "It feels strange to be here," Daniel said. "Because of the letters?" "Yes. Clara stood here many times. She dreamed about leaving." Emily looked at the tracks. They were old and rusty. She probably imagined a different life every time she saw a train. Daniel nodded. "I wonder if she regretted staying." "That is a hard question," Emily said. "Do you think she did?" Emily thought about it. "Maybe sometimes, but regret is not simple." "What do you mean?" "You can love the life you have and still wonder about the life you did not choose." Daniel looked at her. "That is a good sentence." Emily smiled. "You can use it in your book." They sat on an old bench near the platform. Daniel opened the folder. "There is one letter I want to read here," he said. He took out a letter and began. "Dear Thomas, today I came to the station. I held the ticket in my hand. One ticket to New York. You were waiting for me. I saw you across the platform. You smiled when you saw me. For 1 minute, I believed I could do it. I believed I could walk to you, take your hand, and leave. Then I heard my brother's voice in my mind. I saw my mother's face. I saw my father sitting alone at the kitchen table. And I could not move. You waited. The train arrived. People got on. The whistle blew. Still, I could not move. When the train left, you were on it. I was not. I have never felt so heavy in my life." Daniel stopped. The wind moved softly across the tracks. Emily felt tears in her eyes. "She had the ticket," Emily said. "Yes," Daniel whispered. "She almost left." Daniel looked down at the letter. "There is more," he continued. "I do not know if you will forgive me. I do not know if I can forgive myself. But I hope one day you understand. I did not stay because I loved you less. I stayed because others needed me more." Daniel folded the letter carefully. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Then Emily said, "She was brave." Daniel looked surprised. "Brave?" "She did not leave." "Leaving can be brave," Emily said. "But staying can be brave too." Daniel thought about that. "I always thought brave meant doing the exciting thing. Sometimes brave means doing the difficult thing." Daniel looked at the station. "I wish I had known this part of her." "Maybe now you do," Emily said. As they walked back to Maple Street, Daniel seemed different. Lighter, maybe, not completely happy, but more connected. When they reached Emilia's house, Daniel stopped. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For helping me see her as a real person, not just my grandmother." Emily smiled. "She was always a real person. You just found another chapter." Daniel laughed softly. "That also sounds like a line for the book." "You are welcome," Emily said. Vocabulary break. Let us learn words and phrases from this part. Rusty means covered with rust, usually old metal that has turned reddish-brown. For example, the train tracks were old and rusty. Regret means sadness about something you did or did not do. For example, Clara wondered if she would regret staying. Platform means the place where people wait for a train. For example, Thomas waited on the platform. Whistle means a loud sound made by a train or by a person. For example, the train whistle blew. Forgive means to stop feeling angry or hurt towards someone. For example, Clara hoped Thomas would forgive her. Neither means not one and not the other. For example, neither Emily nor Daniel spoke. Connected means feeling close to someone or something. For example, Daniel felt connected to his grandmother's past. Chapter 6. The story begins. Over the next few weeks, Emily and Daniel worked together almost every evening. Daniel wrote. Emily listened. Sometimes she corrected a sentence. Sometimes she asked a question. Sometimes she simply said, "That part is beautiful." Daniel's book slowly began to grow. It was not only about Clara and Thomas. It was about choices, dreams, family, love, and the quiet lives people carry inside them. Emily enjoyed helping Daniel. After work, she looked forward to going next door. They drank coffee. They read letters. They talked about words. One evening, Daniel read a new paragraph from his book. Clara stood at the station with a ticket in her hand. The train was ready. The doors were open. The future was waiting. But behind her, there was another future. A smaller one. A quieter one. A future with family dinners, clean laundry, garden flowers, and hands that needed her help. She wanted the world. But the world at home needed her. Emily listened. "That is very good," she said. "You think so?" "Yes. It is clear and emotional." Daniel smiled. "I am learning from a good teacher." Emily felt her face get warm. "Careful," she said. "Teachers like compliments." Daniel laughed. As the days passed, Emily noticed something. She was not only interested in the letters anymore. She was interested in Daniel. The way he listened. The way he chose his words carefully. The way he cared about telling Clara's story with respect. But Emily was careful with her feelings. She had been hurt before. 2 years earlier, she had been engaged to a man named Mark. They planned to get married, but Mark got a job in another state. At first, they tried to continue the relationship, but slowly, he called less. He visited less. Then one day, he said he was not sure about their future. Emily was heartbroken. Since then, she had kept her life simple. Work, books, coffee, quiet Sundays. No big risks, no big feelings. But Daniel was becoming part of her days, and that scared her a little. One Friday evening, Daniel knocked on Emily's door. He held a paper bag. "I brought dinner," he said. Emily smiled. "What kind of dinner?" "Pizza. The most professional food for writers." Excellent choice. They sat at Emily's kitchen table. Rain tapped against the windows, and Teenager looked around. "Your house feels peaceful," he said. "Thank you. I like peaceful. I can tell." They ate pizza and talked about the book. Then Daniel became quiet. "What is it?" Emily asked. "I found the last letter." Emily put down her slice of pizza. "The last letter from Clara?" "Yes." "But it is different." "How?" "It was written many years later. Maybe when she was already old." Emily leaned forward. "What does it say?" Daniel took the letter from his bag. His hands were careful. He read, "Dear Thomas, I am an old woman now. My hands are not as strong as they were. My eyes get tired quickly, but my memory is still clear. I remember the station. I remember your face at the train window. I remember the life I did not choose. For many years, I thought sadness meant I made the wrong choice. Now I'm not so sure. I had a good life. Not an easy life, but a good one. I had a family. I had a garden. I had summer mornings and winter soup. I had children laughing in my kitchen. I had neighbors who became friends. And later, I had a grandson named Daniel. He was a quiet boy with curious eyes. He loved stories. I think you would have liked him. Daniel stopped reading. His voice was shaking. Emily reached across the table and touched his hand. He continued, I kept your letters because they reminded me of who I was. Not because I wanted to live in the past, but because I wanted to remember the girl who dreamed. I hope you had a beautiful life, Thomas. I hope you saw New York. I hope you wrote your books. I hope you loved again. And I hope, somehow, you knew that I loved you too. Always. Clara. Daniel put the letter down. For a moment, the only sound was the rain. Emily did not speak. She did not need to. Daniel wiped his eyes. I did not expect that, he said. It is beautiful, Emily whispered. She mentioned me. Yes, she saw you. Really saw you. Daniel looked at Emily. I think this is why I came here. To find the letters? Maybe. Or find her. Or myself. I do not know. Emily squeezed his hand gently. Maybe all of those things. Vocabulary break. Let us learn vocabulary from this chapter. Correct means to fix a mistake. For example, Emily corrected Daniel a sentence. Paragraph means a group of sentences about one idea. For example, Daniel read a new paragraph from his book. Compliment means kind words about someone. For example, teachers like compliments. Engaged means promised to get married. For example, Emily was engaged 2 years ago. Heartbroken means very sad because of love or loss. For example, Emily was heartbroken when the relationship ended. Risk means doing something when the result is not certain. For example, love can feel like a risk. Professional means connected to work or done in a serious way. For example, pizza is not really professional food, but Daniel joked about it. Memory means something you remember from the past. For example, Clara's memory was still clear. Somehow means in a way that is not clear or known. For example, I hope somehow you knew the truth. Chapter 7. A New Beginning. Spring came slowly to Green Valley. The apple tree in Emily's garden began to bloom. Small white flowers opened on the branches. The air felt warmer. People walked more slowly. Windows stayed open. And Daniel finished the first draft of his book. He called it The Ticket She Never Used. Emily loved the title. It is perfect, she said. You helped me find it, Daniel replied. No, Clara helped you find it. Daniel smiled. Maybe both. One Sunday afternoon, Daniel invited Emily to the old train station again. This time, he brought 2 cups of coffee and a notebook. They sat on the same bench. The rusty tracks were quiet. The platform was empty. But it did not feel sad now. It felt peaceful. I sent the book to a publisher, Daniel said. Emily looked at him with surprise. Daniel, that is wonderful. I do not know what will happen. You did the brave thing. He smiled. The exciting thing, the difficult thing. Daniel laughed. Yes, the difficult thing. Then he became serious. Emily, I want to tell you something. Emily's heart beat faster. Okay. When I moved here, I thought I wanted to be alone. I thought quiet meant no people, no noise, no feelings. Emily listened. But then I met you, and somehow, quiet became different. Different how? It became warm. Emily looked at him. Daniel continued. I do not want to rush anything. I know we both have pasts. I like spending time with you. I like who I am when I am with you. Emily felt nervous, but it was not a bad nervous. It was the kind of nervous you feel before opening a door that might lead somewhere good. I like spending time with you too, she said. Daniel smiled. For a moment, they just sat together. No big promises. No dramatic words. Just 2 people on an old bench, with coffee, spring air, and a story between them. Few weeks later, Daniel received an email from the publisher. Emily was at school when he called. She answered during her lunch break. "Emily," he said. His voice was full of excitement. "They want to publish the book." Emily stood up quickly. "What? Really?" "Yes. They loved it." "Daniel, that is amazing." Maria looked across the teacher's room. "What happened?" she whispered. Emily covered the phone and said, "The book." Maria clapped silently. Daniel laughed through the phone. "I could not wait to tell you." "I'm so happy for you," Emily said. "For us?" Daniel replied. Emily smiled. Months later, the book was published. People in Green Valley read it. Some cried. Some smiled. Some said it reminded them of their own families. At the book event, Daniel stood in the small-town library. Emily sat in the front row. Maria sat beside her. On the table, there were copies of the ticket she never used. Daniel looked nervous but happy. He began to speak. "This book is about my grandmother, Clara, but it is also about all of us. We all have choices. We all have dreams. We all have roads we take and roads we leave behind." Emily listened with tears in her eyes. Daniel continued, "For a long time, I thought stories had to be big to matter. Big cities, big adventures, big success. But now I believe quiet stories matter too. The stories inside families, stories inside old houses, the stories inside people who smile and say they are fine." He looked at Emily. "And sometimes the best story begins when a neighbor helps you pick up papers on a windy day." Everyone laughed softly. Emily smiled. After the event, Daniel gave Emily a copy of the book. Inside, he had written a message. "For Emily, thank you for helping me find the story. Thank you for helping me find home. Daniel." Emily looked at the words. Then she looked at Daniel. Outside, the evening sun shone on Maple Street. The yellow house and the blue house stood side by side. 2 homes, 2 stories, and maybe one new beginning. The end. Final vocabulary. Review. Let us review important words and phrases from the full story. Neighbor means a person who lives near you. For example, Daniel became Emily's new neighbor. Moving day means the day someone moves to a new home. For example, moving day was noisy and tiring. Hidden means not easy to find. For example, Daniel found a hidden space in the wall. Letter means a written message. For example, Clara wrote letters to Thomas. Secret means something not known by many people. For example, Clara had a secret from her past. Choice means a decision between 2 more things. For example, Clara had to make a difficult choice. Dream means something you want very much. For example, Clara dreamed of going to New York. Responsibility means something you should do because others depend on you. For example, Clara felt responsibility for her family. Brave means able to do something difficult, scary. For example, Clara was brave in her own quiet way. Publisher means a company or person that prepares books for readers. For example, the publisher wanted Daniel's book. First draft means the first version of a piece of writing. For example, Daniel finished the first draft of his book. A new beginning means a fresh start. For example, moving to Green Valley was a new beginning for Daniel. Comprehension questions. Now, answer these questions. You can pause after each question and say your answer out loud. What is the name of the town? What is Emily's job? Who moves into the house next door? What does Daniel do? What falls out of Daniel's box on moving day? What strange sound does Daniel hear in the house? What do Emily and Daniel find behind the wall? Who wrote the old letters? Who was Thomas? What did Clara want to do when she was young? Why did Clara not leave Green Valley? What was the title of Daniel's book? What happened after Daniel sent the book to a publisher? How did Emily help Daniel? What is the main message of the story? Speaking practice. Now, practice speaking. Answer these questions in full sentences. Do you know your neighbors? Would you like to live in a quiet town like Green Valley? Have you ever moved to a new home? Do you think moving is exciting or stressful? What is one dream you have? Have you ever had to make a difficult choice? Do you like stories about family secrets? What does being brave mean to you? Would you read Daniel's book? What did you learn from Clara's story? Thank you for listening to Speak English Naturally. Remember, you do not need perfect English to communicate. You need practice, patience, and confidence. Listen again if you want to improve your understanding. See you in the next episode.